The Balance returned for a new season of meaningful conversation. Taking a close look at the development arena. First angle of introducing 3 new segments. Join the first segment, Chat On. And whenever the chat is on, please grab the opportunity. Join our second segment, Breaking the Glass. Finding out great people that have achieved great things. And we will find out how they break the glass. Of course, our final segment, Walk the Talk. Let's put the talk to actions. That's what it means. Where we will find out so many special things that have been put on social medias, that have been put into talks, but we will find out exactly where the works face. Walk the talk. The Balance Show is back again with exciting interface only on GRTS TV. Hello viewers, once again welcome to this wonderful segment, Breaking the Glass. Of course, it's a pleasure having you again, and then of course last week we have the mayor, the Lord Mayor of KMC. And it was very, very interesting, Alassane. Very, very interesting.
It was interesting.
One of our viewers, our keen viewers, said something. He said, one thing I like about this show is that you bring great people.
Definitely.
That have achieved great things. Yeah. And today we have another great person. Take us through.
Yeah, thank you so very much. That is a nice introduction. And to add on more to that, today we'll be having Dr. Ceesay. I know the entire Gambia knows him for different reasons, which are all good reasons, but he always contributes to national development, whether it's academia or off academia. But just to take you through his bio, Dr. Ceesay is a senior lecturer and the head of political science department at the University of the Gambia, where he has taught undergraduate and postgraduate courses since 2010. He is the founder and current director of the Master's Program in International Relations and Diplomacy at the University of the Gambia. Dr. Ceesay's research interests include African politics, information and communications technology, and the intersection of security and youth issues. He has authored numerous articles on these topics in peer-reviewed journals and other esteemed publications such as African Renaissance, African Foreign Affairs, and the African Election Series of the London School of Economics. Dr. Ceesay has led many international research projects as a consultant. In 2019, he has engaged as consultant for the European Union Emergency Trust Fund for Stability and Addressing Root Causes of Irregular Migration and Displaced Persons in Africa project by Altria Consulting. And secondly, the Peace Research Institute of Oslo, as a researcher within the research project, the impact of security forces assistance on state fragility. In 2018, he collated the round 8 Afrobarometer Perception Survey in the Gambia. In 2013, he carried out extensive ethnographic research in the Gambia on youth, migration, and livelihoods. He was also an Erasmus Plus visiting professor at the VUB University in Brussels, Belgium, and the University of Edinburgh, Scotland. Dr. Ceesay is also serving as a country expert for the Gambia for Varieties of Democracy, and also serves as a coach in the Global Leadership Academy. He is currently working with the University of Edinburgh School of Social Science and Political Science to implement the Scottish Funding Council funded project, that is the environmental activism and political transition in the Gambia. Away from that, he has also numerous achievements. That is, in 2017, he was awarded the Outstanding Lecturer of the Year by the University of the Gambia Students' Union. And in 2019, he was awarded Most Influential Young Persons in West Africa by the Confederation of West African Youths in Sierra Leone. Dr. Ceesay was previously awarded the prestigious Pan-African Humanitarian Award for Excellence in Social Leadership and Community Impact by the Pan-African Leadership and Entrepreneurship Development Center in partnership with the 2018 as well. In 2020, Dr. Ceesay was nominated for the award of Eminent Peace Ambassador by the International Association of World Peace Advocates, a global non-governmental organization affiliated with the United Nations Global Compact. Dr. Ceesay holds a PhD in African Studies from the University of Edinburgh and speaks diverse languages such as English, Mandinka, Wolof, Swedish, and Aku.
Great.
So that is a great man, definitely.
Well, a long biography, but great achievements. Of course, we definitely appreciate, of course, ladies and gentlemen, I hereby welcome Dr. Ismaila Ceesay. Viewers, like I said, once again, we welcome Dr. Ismaila Ceesay. Doctor, it's a pleasure having you on this special segment called Breaking the Glass on the Balance Show.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.
All right, Doctor, let's just go because a lot of people now know who Dr. Ceesay is. Now, the question is always like this. Who is Dr. Ceesay? But the answer is right there. You have seen the biography. That's Dr. Ceesay. But let's go in deep. Can you take us through your achievements from the childhood level? Let's go through your educational background.
Thank you, Baba. Like you rightly said, my name is Ismaila Ceesay. I was born in Brikama. I did my nursery school in Brikama, did my primary school in Brikama, did the common entrance, could not pass it to go to high school in the Gambia because I could not get the pass mark. The other option was for me to repeat at that time, the common entrance, or to go to secondary technical school, which I rejected both options. At some point, I became a dropout for almost a year. I didn't go to school. And then my mother decided to take me to Sierra Leone to further my education. I went to Sierra Leone, did my high school in Sierra Leone at a school called Albert Academy. I finished Form 5 in the mid-90s. I came back to the Gambia to contribute my quota to national development. Applied for jobs in many institutions. I could not get a job. And at that time, the nerve syndrome was at its highest peak in the Gambia. Every young person who could not see him or herself in the country, who wasn't able to secure a job in the civil service, wanted to go to Europe to migrate. I was one of those young people who migrated in search of greener pastures. I went to Sweden, and then I lived in Sweden for many years. I worked in Sweden. I studied in Sweden. I was very active in the Gambian community in Sweden. At some point, I was president of the Gambian Association in Stockholm. That's where I did my bachelor's degree in political science at Stockholm's University. And then I finished my bachelor's degree, and I was still hunger for more knowledge, because I had always had at the back of my mind that I would serve the Gambia. And for me to be able to serve Gambia effectively, I needed knowledge. So I went to Edinburgh University to do my master's degree in African politics, which I finished in 2008. And then when I finished my master's degree, I thought I was ready at that time to come back to the Gambia to serve. And I came home to the Gambia, and I decided to go and teach at the University of the Gambia, because I knew that there will be a time when the Gambia will need its young people to lead, obviously, the crusade to develop this country. So therefore, but these young people, they needed the knowledge to be able to do this effectively. And the only place we could give that knowledge was at the university. So I decided to work at the university to help mold young Gambians, to prepare them for nation building. It was when I got the job at the University of Gambia. I started teaching political science at UTG. For close to 10 years, I was at some point head of the political science department. I also initiated and started the master's program in international relations and diplomacy. And at some point also, I was also president of the University of Gambia Faculty and Staff Association until 2016. In between also, whilst I was at UTG, I was going back and forth doing my PhD at Edinburgh University, which I finished in 2016. And I finally came back home in 2016, which coincided obviously with the change of regime in December 2016. So I continued serving the university until 2020, when I got actively engaged in politics.
Of course, we will come to that. Thank you very much. That's the Brikama boil. Brilliant. You said so many things that are very, very important. It inspired the young ones that are coming. Now, there's this balance I always ask when I have my guests. It's like some people will say, when you are rich, it's always easy to make it. But when you are poor, sometimes it's difficult. You have that obstacle of that name, poor. Now, I want to ask you, were you part of a rich family?
No, I came from, I wouldn't say my family was poor. It depends on how you define poverty. But I did not come from a rich home. In fact, I came from a struggling home. My father was a civil servant. He worked for the forestry department. That is why they called him Ceesay Forest. And we were born when he had already retired, so we were among the youngest of his children. My mother was a school teacher, and everybody knew the salary of a school teacher. So obviously I didn't grow up in a rich home. Civil servant in the Gambia and the home of a school teacher in a polygamous setting. So I did not grow up in a rich home. That is why I never went to a private school. I went to Brikama Primary, which is a public school. The school I went to in Freetown is a public school. And then I went to Europe. When I was going to Europe, I didn't go with a scholarship to study. I went to hustle, to look for money to work and help my parents.
Yeah. So during that struggle, like you will see in certain points that there are certain obstacles that you will see on your way. And then it happens to some young people and they will be like, okay, you know what? I did not pass the common entrance. You know, I don't have any choice. You know, should I go to Europe to struggle? But of course, during the course, you must have faced so many things that are very, very, hectic to break. That's why we call it breaking the glass. How did you break those things to reach there?
It was difficult. My story was difficult. It started in Freetown, obviously. When my mother took me to Freetown, at first I was staying at a boarding school. But the boarding master was maltreating me. All my provisions were taken by him. And then my mother decided to take me to my uncle. At my uncle's house, I was doing all the household chores. I was the one who was washing the dishes. I was doing the laundry. I was doing the ironing. I was washing the cars. I was cleaning. I was fetching the water because we lived at Hill Station. So there was no water coming up. So I had to go down every day with a wheelbarrow to bring water up. And then when my mom came and saw the condition under which I was living and was affecting my education, he moved me to another uncle. He was single. He was living with his brother. There I also was taking care of the house. I wake up early in the morning, go fetch water, come do the cleaning, cook breakfast, take shower, go to school, come back from school at 2:30, go to the market to do the nduga, come home to cook. By 6 I'm done cooking, wash the place, go fetch more water for the following day, do my homework, study, go to bed. Weekends on Saturdays I'll do the laundry for my uncle and his brother and myself the whole day. And on Sunday I'll do the ironing for the whole day. So that was my life in Freetown basically until I finished high school. And then I came to Gambia. When I moved to Sweden, it was also equally tough. Because even though I had family in Sweden, but it was for you to be able to integrate into Swedish society, you needed to get your papers first, and it was a very difficult task. At some point, we slept inside the bus. The bus would be going around, especially the night bus. We have no place to sleep. We'll be sleeping in the street. Sometimes we'll just jump a night bus, sleep in the night bus until the driver understands that we are trying to find a comfort in his bus. He'll just throw us out. And then when I also was doing my studies, I never had a scholarship in my life because I'm not a distinction student. I'm a hardworking and diligent student. I work hard for the grades. I never had a distinction. So
well, that's what would funny. Many people like they will be like, oh, maybe Dr. Ceesay used to be the one taking first during
no. I'm a beast. I'm an average student. Everything I earned in education wise is because of hard work.
And that goes to the average student.
Exactly.
Who
I'm not
they
a distinction student. I have to work extra. If the distinction students studied 1 hour, I have to study 6 hours to get second. In fact, they'll even take 4. So, so therefore, I was never eligible for any scholarship in my entire life. So therefore, my masters, my PhD, I had to pay. And so even when I was doing my masters, I was struggling because every morning I worked in Sweden, I had to go and pay for my masters. I didn't have any bus pass because when I just moved to Edinburgh, it was tough. I had to walk 40 minutes to Edinburgh University, 40 minutes back every day because I could not afford a bus pass. Sometimes I would go a whole day without eating. At night, I'll just eat bread, ponce, because I was just spending everything.
You mean you eat ponce in Europe?
Of course.
That would definitely confuse certain people. They were like, wow, how can you be in Europe and eating ponce?
I was eating ponce. I was eating ponce and cereals for almost 3 months because every money I had, I just did 2 things. I paid my university fees and I paid my rent for the entire period.
Big struggle.
And then I was like zero. So and I had to go to university every day. So I had to walk 1 hour to university, or 40 minutes to 1 hour to university, walk 40 minutes back. So when I come at night, I was living with a Scottish old woman who sublet me one of her small tiny room. So I'll just go to the kitchen, either make a cereal, Quaker oats, or cornflakes, or mburu akponse for me to eat, go to bed the next day, because I knew that the masters was an intensive 1-year program. I was just focused on finishing that masters.
Hard work pays, which we have seen, and I think people will definitely be inspired on that particular point. But I wanted to ask you, during your struggle, there were moments that some people will face struggles of such what you face, which is very, very hard, and then they will be like, I think I should just give up. It's over. It's over for me. Do you ever feel in your life that it's over for you?
Not over. Sometimes you reach breaking point. You reach points whereby you say, do you think I can make it? Is this really worth it? But these are all challenges you face. You see, nothing in life comes easy. You face struggles, hurdles along the way. What defines you, what makes you who you are, is how you deal with those hurdles, and every challenge, how you deal with it. If you start giving up at the first hurdle, then you are not fit for it. You are not fit for any job. You cannot succeed in life. The road to success is filled with twists and turns, ups and downs, like a roller coaster, with serious hurdles along, serious challenges, serious temptations and tests, trials and tribulations. So what defines you is not what you achieve, the PhD, is what defines you as Dr. Ceesay, is how you are able to reach the PhD, going through all those hurdles, all those trials, that is what defines you as Dr. Ceesay. Not the PhD itself is a certificate. The day I graduated and they told me, now you are a doctor, Dr. Ceesay, all they gave me was a small paper, a certificate. After 5 years of hard work, research, after 5 years of every day going to university, of going to do research, of every day supervisors humiliating you, reviewing your write-ups and telling you that you are nothing. After 5 years of hard work, struggles, trials, they just gave you a simple, small paper, not even an A4 size. This is the degree or PhD degree.
Heavy.
That is not what it is.
Is it not heavy like a doctor?
Yeah, but what defines you, what the actual PhD itself is your journey to getting that PhD, is that which defines, that which makes you, the kind of man you become or the kind of woman you become at the end of the day. That is the success and not the achievement.
Now, how do you enjoy today? Like, for example, you work hard and then it pays. Of course, you are definitely getting the payment. Am I not right?
For me, no, not yet. Okay, I have my PhD, fine.
You have your wife, you have a house, you have very good payments.
But that is not the purpose of.
That's what many people will say. That's life.
But
they will be like,
no, that is not the purpose of getting a PhD. I can get a wife, I can get a house, I can get a car without getting a PhD.
Yeah, that's true.
My point.
Yeah.
So the purpose of education.
Can we call that success?
No, the purpose of knowledge. Knowledge is only useful if it have a positive impact in your society during your epoch. Now, if my PhD only benefits me and my family, gets me a house and a car and my kids to go to good school, it's worthless. If my PhD is able to lift my people out of poverty, if it's able to bring the solutions that can make so my people, the Gambian people, the African people, are lifted out of poverty, they are able to live in dignity, I'm able to solve the complex problems of this continent and this country, then my PhD is worthwhile, it's useful. But if it's only benefiting me and my family, getting me a nice car, a nice house, my kids to go to good schools, it is worthless. Then you really did not make a good job of your PhD. Knowledge should be beneficial to your society.
But what if in the case of some people who see that as a successful, as something that they have succeeded, like certain position you've reached to, you've got a house, you've got a compound, you've got a good job, and you are like, okay, you know what, I have reached to the level. But even though with PhD,
yeah,
what about those people with that mentality?
Well, that is their thinking. We cannot really condemn their thinking. But as far as I'm concerned, my PhD is worthless. My knowledge and my education is worthless if it does not contribute positively to lifting my people, the African people, out of poverty, the Gambian people out of poverty. If it doesn't contribute to helping, making sure that it finds the solutions to the health problems in this country, to the youth unemployment problem in this country, to the water crisis in this country, to the crimes in this country, to the security problems in this country. Every minor problem, knowledge is supposed to solve problems. If your knowledge is only able to lift yourself and your family out of poverty, leaving the rest of the population in abject poverty, that knowledge is worthless. It's not useful. It's a big waste, obviously. I would want to grow up. I'm 80 years old, and I look back my life and said, okay, I had a PhD at Edinburgh University. What has it gained me? A house, a few cars, a nice life, kids going to good schools, then I have not lived a worthwhile life. But if I realize that this PhD really has helped in lifting, at least my contribution is it has lifted, helped solving my country's complex problems, then yes, I'll say I lived a worthwhile life. But for me, that is success. For me, that is what the PhD should do, and not just benefit you as an individual or your family.
Yeah, of course, this is just a joke. I just want to show a picture of Doctor wearing this big full shoe. You know, somebody will ask me and say, well, you saw a lot of pictures during his childhood time that he wear this big full shoe. Why do you like wearing big full shoes?
Well, we don't have a choice at that time. We go to the Fogajai. Whatever we find cheap is what we get. You don't look for choice. It's about what's available. It's about what you can find at Fogajai. We used to buy our full suits from Fogajai. We didn't have the money to go to N&N or Widars. We just hear those things by name. N&N, Widars, those were high class places for us.
Yeah, but
I'm from Brikama. There was no Widars and N&N in Brikama. There was only Fogajai in the market.
Yeah.
So when I want to buy a shoe, I go to the Fogajai and look at the pair of shoes available, and I take the most shiny one, whether big or small.
No, this is out of a joke. You like swag since when you were young.
Yes.
And then, of course, it shows still now. And some people will be like, is Doctor 20 years old? How old are you now?
I'm in my mid-40s. I'm in my mid-40s.
And then you still look younger. But the swag shown when you are young, we've seen you wearing car, putting it in a style. That's the swag.
Yes, I mean, I like to be happy. I like to be happy. Whatever makes me happy, I do it.
Were you stubborn during your childhood?
No, I wasn't stubborn. I wasn't stubborn to the extent that I was only stubborn when it has to come to go to Dara and also school sometimes. I loved football, so I would skip Dara to go to play football, and my mom would beat me up. I would skip school sometimes, studies to go play football. So I wasn't that stubborn to the extent that I had to be beaten on a daily basis. But I was playful. I was kind of playful. I like to play a lot. I used to be so playful that sometimes I would dream playing football, and I'd be talking that I'm playing football. And when I wake up, they'll tell me, football. So I love football. Yeah. So that was it. But I grew up like any child in Brikama. We went to demo. We went to look for rabbits with our dogs. We went to the Nyambai forest to look for squirrels. We went for dicks. We sometimes follow dicks, and we see there are two holes, either with hot water or with a bufanga.
Yeah, I can remember that.
Yeah. We also nyamba kalofan, and we used to burn it. We kind of feel like we are smoking. So we did the childhood. Yeah. We didn't have technology then. There was no mobile phone. There was no tablets. There was no internet. We played organic. We played Sosalaso. We played rounders. We played Pudinyade. We played Adai. We did all these things at that time. At that time, the rains used to be beautiful. The grass used to be green during the rainy season. It used to be nice. We used to go to Kembuje at the lake. We used to go to another lake in Jamisa called Funkula. Why Funkula? Because whenever you go inside, you come out, it will be like a Funkula. So when you come home, your mom will know that it's not Funkula.
It never sounds right.
So they'll beat us.
All right,
it was good. No technology, no mobile phones. No TV at that time. The only time what TV was at night. Our TV was a very small TV. In fact, we used to take this borode bayonga kovala, and we put a flower on top of it. At that we only watch RTS. At 8 o'clock RTS comes and we watch it. 12 o'clock they close RTS. That's it. So daytime no football, nothing. Until when the telephone came. Was a house line. So they used to make this frame to put the phone inside so we don't make calls. But we also used to tune. So you take for a set, you understand what the numbers are. You start stealing the call. We did all this childhood, but it was amazing in those days as opposed to
fantastic. Because the old times, some people, when like you've said it, and people will be remembering and saying, okay, those days that we used to play, which is fantastic. I definitely enjoy those times. But let me ask you away from that, because very, very important before we go to the other part of the show, which is important about your political career. I wanted to ask you, you enjoy culture, and this show also shows the culture you like either music or any other traditional culture. What is your best when it comes to the arts in terms of culture?
I like it traditional. I still listen to Kora, especially Kadikebe.
Thank you so much. So that will take us to our first break, and then of course, importantly, we'll just play one of the maybe a kora or a halam. Let's just go with that traditional music break when we come back. Welcome back. Of course, fantastic. Well, I like tradition too. I really like it. But you know, in the current generation, we like to play dancehall, latest music, and everything. But enjoy it. It's fantastic. Now, Doctor, what motivates you to go into politics?
To help solve my country's complex problems, to help bring the solutions that will lift Gambians out of poverty, that will end dependency and indignity in this country, that will ensure that every Gambian lives a dignified life, to ensure we come up with the solutions that will ensure that every Gambian has access to clean water. I'm not saying village, you go to the Bantabat to fetch water. Every household has clean water. Every Gambian has access to affordable electricity. Every Gambian has access to quality healthcare without going from your village to another town to get quality healthcare. It is brought to your area. That every Gambian has access to basic infrastructure so you can move from place to place without any hindrance. That our young people have access to the jobs they need to live a dignified life. That whenever you want to be, you are successful in it. If you want to be a carpenter or a barber, you are successful as a carpenter or a barber, able to build your own house and live a dignified life. That is why I entered politics. I didn't enter politics for no other reason than to serve my country, than to use my little knowledge that God has given me, not for me to use for myself, but for me to use for the purpose of helping our people, to use that knowledge to contribute to helping solve our complex problems.
Now, let's come to the terms that some people will like. You'll be sitting down and then doctor is like, okay, I never want to be a politician. I can remember that when I used to come to you and then you'll be like, no, I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to get into president. I just want to help. But you see, sometimes there must be something that motivates you, that pushes you to get into politics, because it does not have to be only what you want to do for the people. It has to be something definitely behind you or something that started it. Let's come to the point where you started saying, okay, look, I want to be a president, or I want to contest for presidency.
It's when the transition failed. It was hijacked. Everybody had hope that the transition would bring in new development to this country. It will put our country on a path to democracy and development. Even though, let me tell you something, I had always had at the back of my mind that I want to be part of the generation of Gambians that will transform this country, that will build the modern Gambia, whether as president or as a cleaner, it doesn't matter. I had always had at the back of my mind that I was going to be into politics at some point or another. That was going to be there. When the time was, I wasn't sure. But that's why I prepared myself. That is why I went to study. That is why I went to do my master's and my PhD, not to get a job for myself, but to serve my country in any way. And then when that which precipitated now, that which ignited now to say now we are going finally into it, is when we saw that our country was heading on a wrong direction. It was on a slippery slope. That now is the time for those who think that they have the solutions to solve the country's complex problems, not just sit and criticize, but to get their hands dirty in the job, to make sure they engage politically, actively. Otherwise, we leave politics to those who don't have the solutions to our problems. See, there are two types of politicians Africa has produced since independence. Those who enter politics because there's a high premium in political power, because they can easily get rich and enrich themselves through political power, but they have no solutions whatsoever to solve their society's complex problems. The second politician is those that has observed and studied and understood the complex problems of his society or her society and find solutions to those problems, and now wants to enter politics to apply those solutions to solve those problems.
He has break the glass. Thank you so much once again, and it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
The pleasure is mine.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will have Alassane, and he's gonna just tell us how did Doctor break the glass.
Definitely, it has been a wonderful lecture for me. I'm definitely inspired. Every day that I come here, I get inspired, and I know there are millions of people out there watching this show. They also get inspired as well. But the 5 points that I was able to capture. One was hard work. Hard work was something that propelled him. He ate ponce, consume as much cereal as possible just to make a living for himself. So that was actually great. And secondly, he also believed in society, work for society. This is something that all Gambians should learn from. It is not only about you, it's about the society. And once you work for the society, God also rewards you and elevates your position. So that is something that we should also take from this interview. Thirdly, education. That is something that is very important. Although he did so many things, but he also used education in order to help himself to get to the point that he has gotten to. and also being humble. He has shown that he's very, very, very humble. You know, with all the hard work, I know it must be very painful, ironing throughout the day, working hard, doing house chores. That is not what I've actually gone through. I think I'll actually try to do it. It's not just a
better do
joke. I'll try to do it from now. And maybe we can also try to do it.
Not me, I've been doing it.
And finally, that is perseverance. You should be patient if you want to get to a particular point. There are so many times that our parents will take us through certain things. We wouldn't understand what they are trying to get us through. But he also showed that he is a very patient man, and he has also exercised perseverance throughout the course of his journey, and he has made it.
Thank you very much once again for watching. It's a pleasure until we meet again. Bye-bye. The Balance returned for a new season of meaningful conversation. Taking a close look at the development arena. First angle of introducing 3 new segments. Join the first segment, Chat On. And whenever the chat is on, please grab the opportunity. Join our second segment, Breaking the Glass. Finding out great people that have achieved great things, and we will find out how they break the glass. Of course, our final segment, Walk the Talk. Let's put the talk to actions. That's what it means, where we will find out so many special things that have been put on social medias, that have been put into talks, but we will find out exactly where the works face. Walk the Talk. The Balance Show is back again with exciting interface only on GRTS TV.